The horses are free to roam along the animal path. This is all open, and as this is part of the easement, they can also be there. The grass is growing very well with all that rain and some sunshine in between. And even there on the neighbor's land, the one that had a problem with the tenant, things are growing. But of course there's a lot of mustard, which is kind of the indicator plant, telling us that the soil isn't that good. And if you look from above, you can also see that there's a lot of bare soil. And it requires a lot of rain to make this show up. But of course that is what we got. It doesn't mean that this land is now suddenly fertile. It isn't. And we have the same effect here on our pieces. And if I pan down, this is right next to the easement where I'm standing. This is how it looks like. There is a lot of things growing, so it's not so bad. But then you can see it looks different when you look directly from above. So there's a lot of empty space. And the same thing is also in what we recently, in terms of the overall context, turned into paddocks. Because before we started doing something here, there were no fences. There was only the perimeter fence. And the animals were free to roam everywhere. But now that we changed to agroforestry or silvopasture, however you want to call this, that area there is going to be one of the next places where we will build a forest with a lot of trees, and this will not be a paddock anymore, because this area is still in bad shape. It has improved, but it is still in bad shape and would not really sustain ranching the way I would like to do it. So therefore we will not continue with that. We are removing the cattle, as you know. But it looks nice now that we had all this rain and some sunshine, and the Spanish Met Office, I need to repeat this, says that summer this year will be wet. So we had this morning quite dark clouds and also a little bit of a dribble, and now we have these clouds. So it's basically a feeling like it's summer in Northern Europe, like in Germany, for example. It's also not hot. So maybe now in the sun it's like 25. The day started with just 17 degrees centigrade.
We are about to install a no-return valve so that the pressure from the pump can go to the compound without filling this tank from below.
¿Estamos seguros que no lo pongamos al revés? Vale, pues aquí ya tenemos un problema. A este le faltan piezas.
Well, we had to replace this piece, but after that, everything is working now very well.
stato fino, dopo qui.
Sun and water are the two main ingredients for plant growth, and we do have both. As you can see, a lot has been growing, but today is one of the first days of heat, and also I was able to use good water pressure to water all these plants here. There is a problem, and that can be a major problem when it is extremely hot. So she has been here all alone. Yeah, your friends are over there, and you have to go around. You can't go through here, and you are supposed to know that. Yeah, see, that is closed here, and they are there on the other side. But she should be able to understand that. She has probably seen me and also them, and thought, maybe I can go through here. But no, it's the long way around. But she will figure this out. And by the way, it is Saturday, and that means I have the place to myself, so me and my family. But they are doing something inside the house, and I have the pleasure to figure out why there is no water coming from the well, from the pump that is down there, that is at the outflow of the water reservoir. And it gives me an opportunity to show you how things look like now that we have gotten a lot of rain, and since a few days the sun is out. The forecast talks about more rain, but that's from thunderstorms, and they are forecasted now in the 10-day forecast for the coming Sunday. So that's far out, and it comes and goes, but somewhere in that time range says there will be more rain, so that would be quite good. There is a thermal going off. And as always, the neighbor has the sheep out. The idea is, oh, there is forage. Let's put the animals out so that they can take advantage of it. I can understand that, because otherwise commercial feed, which costs money, has to be employed, and that is their business. They want to live off of this, and I can fully understand it. And now that I mentioned this, there was a comment recently by someone. I would assume that person is from the US, and knows how agriculture there works with hired help. To me, hired help, that means I hire someone for a couple of hours every day or every week, but I pay this person for the hours worked, and everything else is their problem. It makes a lot of sense, nothing against it, but this does not work around here. So you either can employ people on a temporary contract, and the total sum of the days or of the time worked by that person cannot ever be longer than 3 years in total. And then you cannot hire the person again. So keep this in mind. You cannot hire someone on a temporary contract for longer than 3 years in total. Or else, this is an indefinite contract, and that means when that person leaves, there are some details, let's not go into these, but when that person leaves, you then have to pay them some sort of a severance payment. You could use this term. And the amount is determined by law depending on the time the person has been with the company. So after 3 years, with a monthly salary at the minimum, this is easily 5,000 euro. So this is a very serious thing, and that is why some companies, for example, like the company running the gas stations, lots of them, will never have full-time employees in most cases. So this is all temporary contracts, and they basically will not employ the same person again after a year and a half, just to be on the safe side. So that is then the form of hired help. And otherwise you have full-time employees, and yeah, there are more rules. So all these things contribute to the fact that on a weekend there is nobody working in the countryside, unless it's the farmer, the rancher, whatever you call it, and family members, because this does not apply to family members. My family is not working here in this, and this is also not our primary business, and it's not a business at all. It is an experiment. We have this here, don't need to justify it, but I think it's important to understand in the background. We have this here for some future ideas. We want to do some good and live in a place that is nice and also warm. We have lived in many places of this planet, so we selected a place far away from big cities and so, and we want this place to be nice. It is not our intention to make money out of this by exploiting the land. But on the other hand, this should also not be a money sink. But there's a huge difference between a business that people live off, like the new owner of the sheep over there, and something that maintains a balance and does some things. And of course one has to be patient. So I don't want to lose my money on this. That is not the idea. Also, I don't want to work to maintain this and everybody else takes advantage. No. But I also don't want this place to be brown, exploited and dying. I don't want to live in a place that's dying. I want to live in a place that's thriving. And I understand that I have to make an investment and be patient. So keep this in mind. I'm trying to strike a balance between two different things that to some people are opposites. To me, they belong together. So now that I'm out here finding the leak, let's see where it might be. So this definitely has some water pressure, but as I can tell from how far the water is shooting out, this is not the maximum pressure that the pump down there at the well can produce. So this is okay, but this is not okay, given that this pump is a lot more powerful. So there's a lot more pipe all this way, then it comes down and it goes up to the altiplano, 60 meter in elevation difference. And if that were all, it would never work. And it used to work until yesterday. So something must have happened somewhere along that animal path. So I now have to walk it and see if I find a leak there, because that leak takes away the pressure. The good thing is I can take you along and you can see how this zone A, which is the much better part of our land, has developed so far. You see where I'm walking here? There is quite a lot, and this is the animal path, so this is not the area that is being protected. If I pan over here, this definitely looks quite different. You see here on the other side, and this is not the best paddock. I should mention that this A11 is part of the permaculture zone 2, so the place where we want to work more frequently, multiple times a week, and we will put plants there like trees. And I need to open this. The horses are allowed to roam this animal path. The wire, by the way, is powerless, because the horses understand, oh, there is a wire, I know what it means, and they will leave it alone. That's the good thing. Currently the horses are somewhere over there looking at the cows, which happen to be at the entrance of our zone C. And now that I'm here and I show you this indirectly, let me show you this directly. That is our neighbor who had the tenant, and the tenant is gone since a while and nothing has happened since then. So that land basically is resting, which is a good thing. And you can see how this looks like. It's not so bad. It's not the same as in our areas, but as the amount of animals has been reduced step by step, there was a lot more resting involved, and so indirectly that did good to this land. I can't tell anything about what the owners have in mind, what they want to do. Only information here and there I get is there are still some legal issues that are unresolved, and therefore no plans can be made, as it appears. But it's not my business. It's someone else's business. I made a few suggestions about what we could do together, but so far nothing has come out of this. It's a complicated thing, and it's not my place to push this. And this is the other neighbor. That is the one with the tractor, and they are kind of rotating animals, so they are also giving this land a rest period so that the plants can grow. So that's very positive, and maybe I was able to influence this a little bit, because I talked to them a few times mentioning what we do, and maybe they decided to give it a try. They have a very, I think I spotted the issue already there ahead. There. But before I go there to fix it, let me finish the sentence. So I told them a few times what we are doing with the rotation and all this. They have it a little bit easier. They have a lot of cows available. So far I think they have some 500 or so, and they have many hectares. So a single parcel is maybe 300 or 500 hectares in size, and they can rotate that herd through several of these pieces. Now that's a different thing. Well, good for them. We have only our tiny 45 hectare piece. So you can see that here is water running down. So let's see what we have. And by the way, you see, now there are flowers coming up with the sunshine and all that water. This works. So now the landscape is changing. The flowers needed the sun. And this is our paddock A9 where we made this berm. There is no swale. This is just material that got dug out over there and brought here. It is on a contour line and it has some positive effect. What we can also look at after I fixed this problem here, if it's an easy fix or not. If the pipe is burst, it might be more challenging. Let's see. Oh, it looks actually pretty bad. So that pipe is definitely burst. So a little bit problematic. That is our problem. That these pipes are for much lower pressure, but we need the high pressure to transport the water from one place to another. And even if we would bury these pipes, the same thing happens. They are not made for this type of pressure. But it's the only material that we have available here. So there's that. But it appears that I'm lucky. And there is a shut-off valve, which I can close. So now water should flow in that direction. On the other hand, the pressure that came out of that leak wasn't that much. So I probably better walk all the way down to the other end. Probably some 500 meters back and forth. It's good for my stomach or for the whole body. Some little exercise. And by the way, we do have some standing water left here in this pond. And if in a week it rains, this will fill up again. So I'm happy about that. You might remember that I talked a few times that I would like to plant some shrubs and trees on that berm. I still do, but this is out of scope for the moment. So don't expect this. This is now an area where nature reigns, and we will not do anything here because we want to focus on other things. What I can also show now that I'm walking around here, the guys from Life Terra sent me an email. They replied to my question, when are you guys coming to visit? And the lady who is managing this told me that two of her co-workers will do a tour here in Andalusia and visit several people who like to to basically provide land to plant trees, and that should happen in August. And I hope that they will then be able to see this area where in November, my plan, I would like us to plant trees. So Life Terra is an EU organization. They are providing trees and some budget to people who would they would like to set aside a piece of land, and then the landowner is responsible for maintaining the trees. And my suggestion there is to plant a Miyawaki forest in this area here, which is a little bit less than 6,000 square meters. Miyawaki means 1,500 saplings per 1,000 square meters. So now you can do the math. This is a lot of trees. And they are fine with that. They are happy with that idea. They have known what it means from the very first contact on. And I hope that I can tell you more a little bit when the two co-workers of the lady maintaining this contact have been here. Maybe I can even show you their visit. I have to ask them if they're okay with that, but probably they are, and then you can see this. So this should happen sometime in August. So there we have a clearer vision. And my hope and goal is that in November we can plant here. At least 2 of you guys, thank you, have sent me an email and asked if this really is going to happen in November. So I keep you posted. Now, hopefully you see this, and maybe some more of you would like to come. So the basic idea is we pick you up at the airport in Seville. I would assume you come by flight or by airplane, because it's far away. If you come by train, the train station would be Cordoba, which is on the way to Seville. And we will feed you. We put you in a hostel that is nearby and organize the transport, because we have no place here on site where you could sleep. Not yet. Working on that, but this is further out. And then, maybe a week or so, we have some fun planting trees. Of course, we will also take you out to a few important things, so that you can taste how this area feels like. So I'm talking about the ham and all these things. And that way we put this here full of trees. Now here are shut-off valves. Let me see how the pressure in this area looks like. So you can probably hear that water is moving. Question is how much. There are the sprinklers. And looking at them will tell me if the pressure is normal here or not. Because if they do not work, as I know how this looks like, there is another leak further down. So let me stand here a couple of minutes to see. So the sun is slightly to the side of the solar panels that drive this pump down there, but that pressure is not what I would expect. And you can also see that there is air in the line. So I have to go further down and see what I can find. So this is not okay.